Thank you for listening to Heart Chat Stories. I'd really love to hear your thoughts, so don't forget to leave a comment and share these stories with someone who might need them. Each story is meant to help you pause, reflect, and think about your own relationships, how you love, how you heal, and how you grow. If you'd like more insight into the stories or want to add one to your next book club, visit graceguidance.com. You can find the full collection there, along with reflection prompts to keep the conversations going. And remember, every story in Heart Chat Stories is a chance to rediscover yourself, one honest chat at a time.
So he smiled instead, a real, soft one, and opened the passenger door for honesty. "Let's get you two home." She slid in, eyes lingering on him. And as he walked around to the driver's side, one truth hit him hard. The three of them had already begun to feel like something, and that scared him, in a way that also felt a whole lot like hope. After a night filled with pizza, pool balls, and air hockey smack talk, Orin drove Honey and Chase back to the cottage, the future home they were working so hard to secure. The sky was a watercolor blend of purples and oranges as he pulled up along the curb. Chase was in the back seat, head bobbing sleepily while mumbling something about velociraptors winning championships. Honey unbuckled and turned to help her son, but Orin beat her to it. He opened the back door gently, lifting Chase into his arms. Chase instinctively wrapped tired arms around Orin's neck, trusting him without hesitation. Honey's heart squeezed. "Thank you," she whispered as they reached the porch. Orin set Chase down carefully. The little boy immediately grabbed his mother's hand and shuffled inside, half-asleep Dinosaur still clutched tight. She tucked him onto the couch for a quick doze, then returned outside, closing the door quietly behind her. The porch light flickered between them, a dim glow full of possibility. "That was one of the best nights I've had in a long time," Honey said, stepping closer. "Thank you for including us." Orin's voice was soft but sure. "You two are easy to want around." She smiled at that, a smile warmer than the porch bulb above them. "Orin," she said gently, "you don't always have to call me Honesty." "Oh?" he asked, trying to play casual while his pulse jumped. She nodded, a tiny bit shy now. "My family calls me Honey, and I'd like it if you did too." The name melted onto his tongue before he could think to restrain it. "Honey," he repeated, slow and reverent. Her breath hitched, surprised by how right it sounded coming from him. He stepped just 1 inch closer, enough for the air to tighten between them. "Good night, Honey," he murmured. She tipped her head up, lips inches from his, the moment teetering on the edge of something neither was ready to admit. "Good night, Orin," she whispered back. He forced himself to turn before instinct stole the choice from him. Walking back to the truck felt like walking away from gravity itself. Behind him, Honey leaned into the doorframe, palm pressed to her chest, trying to calm a heartbeat that refused to obey. By the end of the week, Honey and Chase officially moved into the newly stabilized cottage. Boxes surrounded the living room like unbuilt dreams. The sunroom flooded light into the space that would soon hold her expanded business inventory. Everything smelled like new beginnings and fresh drywall. Orin pulled into the driveway that morning with a toolbox in the back and a quiet hope in his chest. Honey met him outside, hair in a messy bun, painting shirt splattered with soft blue streaks, smile ready. "Welcome to the chaos," she said. Orin stepped inside, taking in the undone kitchen cabinets, the half-painted den, the kids' room full of toy dinosaurs waiting for a shelf. "This is good chaos," he said. "It means life's happening again." Honey's expression softened. Before she could respond, Chase rushed in, face bright, arms wide. "Orin, look! I got my own room!" He grabbed Orin's hand without hesitation and dragged him down the hallway. "I'm painting dinosaurs on the wall. Mommy says so." Her voice echoed behind them. "Within reason." Orin laughed, really laughed, and let Chase show him every corner of his dinosaur kingdom. They spent the afternoon painting walls Chase's favorite shade of T-Rex green, fixing a loose closet door, installing a shelf shaped like a tree branch, eating Honey's homemade lemonade pops on the back steps. And somewhere between the paint splatters and popsicle smiles, Chase decided exactly who Orin was in his world. He walked right up to him and asked, "Are you staying for dinner?" Orin blinked, caught off guard. Honey hurried over, cheeks flushed. "Chase, Mr. Orin has other things to do, sweetheart. He's very busy." Chase crossed his arms, unconvinced. "But I like him." Orin knelt down, trying to keep his voice steady. "I like you too, buddy." Those 4 words punched straight through all his defenses. He stood again, meeting Honey's gaze, his voice lowered. "I can stay, if you want." Honey's breath caught. No teasing, no hesitation, just truth. "I want," she whispered. Dinner on the patio. As the sun dipped behind the neighbors' pines, the 3 of them sat outside, Chase telling dramatic dinosaur tales while Orin fixed a stubborn patio light and Honey cooked tacos in the kitchen. It felt shockingly normal, dangerously normal. Chase leaned his head against Orin's arm while eating. Orin froze, then relaxed into it. Honey watched, heart swelling and breaking a little all at once. After dinner, Chase ran inside to find his pajamas. Honey stepped beside Orin, handing him a towel to wipe paint off his forearm. Their fingers brushed. Warm, familiar. "You're good with him," she said quietly. "I'm trying," Orin replied. "He makes it easy." He didn't pull his hand away this time. Neither did she. Inside, Chase's voice echoed. "Mommy, can Orin read me a story?" Honey looked up at him, eyes full of hope and fear intertwined. Orin nodded before doubt could speak. "Yeah," he said softly, "I'd like that." Chase's breathing slowed into soft, steady rhythm. One arm draped over the dinosaur plush Orin had helped him pick out last week. Orin lingered for a moment longer, brushing a curl off the boy's forehead before gently rising from the bed. Honey waited in the hallway, a small smile resting on her lips. They moved to the living room, lights dimmed low, and curled up together on the couch, her tucked against him like she belonged there. Orin rested an arm around her shoulders, heart pounding in a way that felt both terrifying and right. For a while they just sat, quiet, peaceful, listening to the house settle around them. A few months ago, that creak would have hinted at structural problems. Now it sounded like comfort. Orin broke the silence first. "I don't know what I'm doing," he admitted, voice low and honest. "With you, with Chase, any of it." Honey didn't move, didn't tense. She simply lifted her chin so she could look at him. "You're doing exactly what you should," she said. "You're showing up, you're caring, you're letting yourself feel again." He exhaled shakily. "But what if I mess it up? What if I love him like he's mine and then—" His voice cracked, fear pushing up from somewhere deep and jagged. Honey shifted closer, her hand pressing gently over his chest. "Orin, to live and love is to live wonderfully. It's not supposed to be safe or predictable. It's supposed to make your heart beat loud and remind you that you exist." He stared at her, every word sinking into the places he'd boarded up long ago. "I'm scared," he whispered. "I know," she whispered back. She brushed her thumb along his cheek, soft, slow, steady. "And I'm right here." He cupped her face in his hand, thumb brushing that spot near her jaw where her pulse fluttered like a secret. Their lips met, slow and deep, not rushed or desperate, but full of acknowledgement. A kiss that said, "We're both terrified, we're both learning, we're doing it anyway." "I want this," he murmured. "I want you." Honey smiled against his skin. "Good, because I want you too." 2 days later, a white sedan pulled up outside the cottage. Honey opened the door expecting a routine check-in. Instead, a stern woman with a clipboard and badge introduced herself. "Child Protective Services. We're here for an urgent home assessment and parental capability interview." Honey's stomach dropped. Chase was at preschool. Orin was supposed to arrive in an hour, and she felt suddenly, achingly alone. CPS walked through the home with sharp eyes, noting unfinished things, structural repairs still in progress. The inspector's tone sharpened with every room. "You're a single mother with no cohabitating support system?" Her pen hovered over the page like a loaded weapon. Honey clasped her hands to hide the trembling. "I have support. My mother lives nearby. We have a stable routine." "But you are the primary caregiver," the woman interrupted. "How do you expect to maintain a business, home repairs, and guardianship of a child who is not biologically yours?" Something inside Honey cracked, fear mixing with a spark of anger. "I am the mother he knows," she insisted, "and everything I'm doing is for his safety and his future." The inspector narrowed her eyes skeptically. "So there is no paternal figure present in the household?" A twisting silence. Honey's throat closed. Her heart pounded. Then, a deep voice from behind them. "Yes, there is." Honey spun around toward the doorway, and there stood Orin, dusty from work, fierce storm in his eyes. He stepped inside with steady confidence and stood at Honey's side like he'd always belonged there. "I'm Honesty's fiancé," he said without hesitation, placing a protective hand at the small of her back. Honey's breath caught, but she didn't move, didn't correct him, didn't want to. The inspector blinked. "Fiancé? And you provide support?" "Yes," Orin answered, solid as steel. "Financial, emotional, domestic. I'm here every day ensuring this home is safe and ready, and I'll continue doing so long term." Honey looked up at him, stunned. He met her eyes briefly, silently telling her, "I've got you." The inspector scribbled notes rapidly, tone shifting. "Well then," she said after a long pause, "that certainly affects the evaluation. A two-parent household demonstrates a stronger stability profile." Orin nodded once. "We're building a future together, and Chase is part of that future." Honey's eyes stung, not with fear this time, but relief. The inspector finished her assessment with a newfound neutrality. "I'll file a preliminary report. You'll be updated within 5 business days." She left without another harsh word. When the door closed, Honey let out a shaky breath. Orin turned to her, expression softening as the adrenaline faded. "You okay, Honey?" She stared at him, heart racing. "Fiancé?" she whispered, voice cracking through a cocktail of fear and gratitude. "Orin, why did you say that?" He stepped closer, wiping a tear from her cheek with his thumb, gently, like he was afraid she might break. "Because you were standing there alone," he said, "and you shouldn't have to be." She swallowed, overwhelmed. What if this becomes real?" she asked. Orin's voice dropped, low, unflinching. I'm not saying something I can't stand behind." Her lips parted, hope blooming too fast to contain. Outside, the foundation of her home had never been stronger. Inside, her heart finally believed it might be safe to stay. The solarium lights cast a soft glow over the circle of chairs. Orin dropped into one like he'd been holding up a house on his shoulders, and in a way, he had. Marcus watched him with that quiet intuition he always had. "You look like a man who did something brave," he said. Orin let out a dry laugh. "Or stupid." The guys leaned in, curious. He ran a hand through his hair. "CPS showed up today, putting Honey through hell, asking her if she can handle being a single mom, like she hasn't already proven it 10 times over." "Harsh," someone muttered. "Yeah," Orin nodded, and she was standing there, alone, cornered, ready to lose everything. He exhaled sharply. "So I said I was her fiancé." A low whistle passed around the circle. Marcus raised a brow. "And are you?" "No," Orin paused. "Not yet." That yet drew every man's attention. "Then why say it?" Marcus asked. Orin stared at the floor, the truth heavy and real. "Because I didn't want her facing that without someone who would fight for her." A beat. "And because I want to be that someone." A wave of understanding spread across the group. One of the older men leaned forward, elbows on his knees. "Son, sounds like you stepped into your future before your fear could talk you out of it." Marcus nodded, silent encouragement for him to keep going. Orin swallowed hard. "There's this voice inside me," he began, voice low. "It says I'll love them hard, and then everything will be taken away from me again. I can't survive that twice." The room quieted, the kind of silence men hold sacred. Marcus leaned forward, elbows on his knees, eyes steady. "Then make damn sure it doesn't happen." Orin looked up, startled by the fierceness in Marcus's tone. "Listen," Marcus continued, "honesty doesn't sound like someone who's playing games or looking for convenience. She sounds like she's carrying a mission, and it seems to me," he paused, voice softening with awe, "like God just placed a double portion in your lap." A double portion.
A second chance at family, love multiplied, not stolen. Orin felt the emotions of his past wave over him. Marcus continued, "You think fear is trying to protect you, but really, it's trying to keep you from what God's giving you, from love that's meant to stay." Another man across the circle chimed in. "You're not fighting against the past, Orin. You're fighting to claim your future." Orin blinked hard, eyes burning because the truth was too loud to ignore. He wasn't afraid of loving them. He was afraid of losing them. But Marcus's voice broke through. "Good men get scared because good men plan to stay." Orin nodded, slowly at first, then stronger, as if each movement was laying a new foundation inside himself. "Yeah," he breathed, "I want to stay." Later that evening, the house was quiet. Chase was asleep, knocked out from a day of paint, dinosaurs, and tacos. Honey was in the living room, gently folding laundry on the couch, when Orin knocked lightly on the doorframe. "You can come in," she smiled, tucking a shirt into the basket. He stepped inside, but didn't sit, didn't relax. Something was different in his eyes. She set the laundry aside. "What's wrong?" Orin took a slow breath, bracing himself. "I went to the men's group tonight," he started. Honey nodded. She loved that he had a place of support besides her. "I told them about CPS showing up, and what I said," his voice wavered slightly, "about calling myself your fiancé." Honey's pulse quickened, but she stayed still, listening. He came closer, not with confidence, but honesty. "I also told them about the voice inside me, the one that's been telling me that if I love you and Chase, really love you, then something is going to take you away, just like last time, and I can't go through that again." Honey stood, her heart breaking and melting at the same time. "Orin," but he wasn't done. "Marcus, the guy who leads the group, told me something. He said, if I'm scared because I plan to stay, that's how I know I'm a good man." His jaw tightened, and he said God might have put a double portion in my lap. Honey's eyes glossed with tears. He finally stepped closer and rested his palms against her upper arms, gentle, grounding. "And I believe him," Orin said. "I want to stay, not halfway, not with one foot out the door. I want to show up. For you." He swallowed. "For Chase, too." Honey exhaled, shaky and full of relief. "You don't have to promise a future you're not ready for," she whispered. Orin cupped her cheek, thumb catching a tear she didn't realize had fallen. "I'm not promising anything I can't stand behind," he said. "I'm telling you the truth, the one I finally let myself believe." A soft sound left her, not quite a sob, not quite a laugh, just feeling. "You saying you want to stay?" she whispered. "That's everything." Their lips met, slow, tender, reverent, not fueled by fear or adrenaline this time, but peace. A kiss built like the house around them on a stronger foundation than before. When they parted, Honey brushed her fingers through his hair and smiled. "So, fiancé?" she teased lightly. Orin chuckled, forehead still touching hers. "Temporary title, until you give me a real answer." Honey's smile deepened. Warm, trusting, brave. "We'll get there," she said, "together." He nodded, finally allowing himself to sit beside her on the couch, an arm slipping around her shoulders as she nestled into his side. The night grew quiet around them. Honey rested against Orin's chest, her fingers drawing absent circles on the back of his hand. For once, neither of them felt rushed to speak. Orin tilted his head down, voice low. "You feel good here." Honey looked up, meeting eyes full of gentleness and hunger layered together, a combination she had prayed existed somewhere in the world. "You do too," she whispered. They stayed like that for a breath, too, and then she leaned in, not hesitant, not questioning, and kissed him like she'd already chosen him long ago. Orin responded with a soft groan in his throat, pulling her closer as if closing that 1 inch of space erased the distance of years. His hand stayed respectful, one at her waist, the other cradling the back of her neck, like he was afraid to rush the sacred. Honey slid onto his lap, wrapping her arms around his shoulders. Their kiss deepened, still tender but full of truth. When they finally paused, Honey whispered, "Stay." One word, small, but it carried everything. Orin cupped her cheek, his voice rough with emotion. "Are you sure?" Honey nodded, eyes shining. "I want you here, not just in my home, in my life." He brushed his thumb over her bottom lip, reverent. "I've been waiting for a long time to feel this again," he said. "I never thought I would." Honey placed her hand over his heart, steady and warm beneath her palm. "You deserve love that stays," she said. "So do I." Orin exhaled, a release of years of fear, and kissed her again, slow and worshipful. The world outside could wait. Tonight they chose each other, not because everything was perfect, but because they were willing to build something real together. He lifted her gently into his arms, carrying her toward the bedroom, not as a man seeking escape, but as a man walking into a future he finally believed he deserved. Honey held on to him, trusting, ready, and the door closed softly behind them.
Thank you for listening to Heart Chat Stories. Every story is written with love, to heal, to inspire, and to remind you that new beginnings are always possible. If this touched your heart, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share so others can find healing through story. Until next time, keep your heart open and your spirit lifted.